Hello, hello, this is Paper Cuts Included coming to you live from the Ninja Turtle sleeping blanket, and that's I know it's legit. Before we get into today's video, I hope everyone had a awesome 4th of July. I hope you spent it with whoever you wanted to spend it. I hope you got to do whatever you wanted to do, and hopefully read a couple comics along the way. I took a little 2-day break. Usually we post every day, every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m., but I decided, hey, I haven't missed an upload in about 3 months. I'm gonna take a break, spend time with my family. So sorry to everyone who's kind of left in the blue yesterday with no new video, but I just spent it with my family, and I hope everyone can understand that. But we're back at it. We're gonna be doing another installment of Miller Friday. But before we begin to that, if this is your very first Paper Cuts Included video, we are a comic book YouTube channel dedicated to talking about what we love, and what we love is comic books, baby. It's ran by me and my two co-hosts. We're all working artists in the field and want to talk about comics. And we break comics down to the atoms. What I mean by that is we'll put this book under the microscope, break it down artist to artist, atom to atom, pencil to pencil, panel to panel, just break it down to the bare essentials. Talk about what works, what doesn't, how can we do it as an artist, what should we do as an artist, how do we sell those books, how do we, keep our inspiration flowing. And my oh my, is this a good book to look at. A one-shot Sin City Sex and Violence, Frank Miller. And I was teetering on the edge if YouTube's going to let me show this or not. It's not outright vulgar. There are some titties in it, but hopefully YouTube, we're just talking about art. I guess maybe I should state that. When we look at artwork that shows nudity, shows, mature themes, I am not gawking at it for its mature themes. I am breaking it down as an artist to talk about the artistic, talents. It's like if we looked at a Baroque era painting about Bacchus, and Bacchus is the wine god, and so he did have a giant festival, and if there's nudity in it, there's nudity, and we talk about it. But I'm not here to be like, "Ooh, look at these boobies, aren't they amazing?" We talk about art as a professional artist, not as a middle schooler who's found his dad's Playboys for the first time. So that's my little housekeeping. So let's get into it. Like I said, this is the one shot Sex and Violence. This was one of the first Frank Miller books I read. It was after I read Yellow Bastard. So I knew, I got the whole Sin City kind of. I think I bought this with my first two issues of Yellow Bastard at the same con from the same vendor. I am absolute of that now. So I think as soon after I read the first two issues of Yellow Bastard, I read this, seeing what kind of long story it would be, not knowing is one shot, and it's very good. It's a good Sin City piece. Some of his other one shots people complain about, but I think this one's really good. So before we break into it, we like to do a thing called "Is the cover successful?" And what do I mean by that? If you're an artist, you're trying to sell books in a store, because hey, you have to sell your books. You got to keep the lights on in your studio, you got to keep some pens and pencils coming, and you got to keep a cheeseburger in your belly. And the only way to do that is make money. And if you're trying to make a book, you got to sell your book. And an easy way to sell your book: have a good cover, have an interesting cover. Think of the people who walk into a store for the first time, you know, and don't judge a book by its cover. Bullcrap. Everyone judges a book by its cover, in the actual book format. So make a cover that's super interesting. Make something that people are going to stop at, pick it up, look at it, and hopefully buy it. If they buy it, hey, you just made yourself a sale. So never make a boring cover. I really like this cover. I don't think it's perfect. I think it's very unique. I would stop and look at it, but I can see where a lot of people would not stop and look at it. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it is mid. Man, I'm showing my age by saying that. But no, I think it is a middle of the road cover. I think it has some great artistic elements in it. The gesture drawings, showing the very light kind of white ink to show the contours of her shoulders, using that to show the insides of her legs. Even the hair, the eyes, the lips. What a great way to show, Frank Miller's Sin City style, I guess. It's a great pre-sale for it. If you don't like that artwork, you're probably not going to like a lot of his art style in Sin City. So, like I said, I think it is a pretty good cover. Not the best Sin City cover. I don't know what I'd say is the best Sin City cover. I love the first two issues of Yellow Bastard, but that's also my favorite Sin City story. So I have some rose-colored glasses for that one. But no, let's break her open and take a look at her. But no, before we even get to the another page, look at this amazing line work that Miller does. How do you think he comes up with it? I would love to sit down and talk with him. I know that is so out of reality. He is, I just he's on the Mount Rushmore of artists for me, and probably of a lot of people, But I feel like art like this really shows how different and innovative he was. You know, I besides him, I don't see people do this. You know, he's showing rain. She's getting rained on, and it works so well. It sells it. And that's something I feel like you can learn from Miller. Say what you will about him. I know he's had his rough parts in life, some really rough parts. You know, like Holy Terror, people, you know, some elements of 300, elements of Sin City. But he, at the end of the day, take away, separate some of the bad from the artist. He's an amazing artist. He was a very innovative artist, and he still is. He's still working. And people need to stop giving him crap. He's like an 80-year-old dude. He shakes when he talks. Don't crap on his new covers when he can barely hold a pen. But I think I will always know Frank for his art first, and then the person, because that's how I learned about him. I read Sin City first. So I didn't think I was gonna do a Frank Miller rant, but there's my Frank Miller rant. But no, let's keep getting into it. Sorry for the pause. I was checking the camera. But no, we get some really interesting typography right there with wrong turn. I'm very curious I wonder if Frank did that himself, or his brother, sign painter, did that. I'm very curious who did it. I think this one shot has some of the most different panel work that Miller's has done in Sin City. The shrinking panels. We're going to get the stuff where there's not even gutters. A lot of this book doesn't have gutters. It's almost like a mixture of Silent Night, where each page is its own kind of work of art, if that makes sense. Go look at our Silent Night um, watch if you haven't yet. I thought it was a really good video. I don't know how well it's done, but I liked it a lot. And, you know, I feel like I can't press this enough. Find something you can learn from this book. Be it a great one shot. If you are struggling on a one shot, read this book. Or, just read some of his one shots. This is probably one of the weaker ones. Silent Night's a great one shot. Silent Night's probably one of the best one shots in comics history. As in, like, you get a story from start to finish. You don't have to know anything about the characters, and yet it's a great story in 20 pages. Here, it's a little different. It's a little weaker as a one shot, I think. We'll talk about it why. I think Miller just wanted to have fun, wanted to make another Sin City story, and he had fun. And at the end of the day, that's what sometimes being an artist is being fun. So, another stuff we get is there's actually color in this. If you're new to Sin City, there is barely ever any color in Sin City. It is in white, it is in black and white, and yet our female character here is wearing a very stunning blue dress, I guess is what we call it. Um, I think Miller just had this girl as a sketch in one of his sketchbooks and wanted to make a comic about it, because she is a very well defined character with a very well defined style, and we'll get to that. I love Miller's cars. I don't know how he draws old Studebaker so good. It's like him and Jeff Darrow can draw cars so well, you know. So if you want to draw vintage cars, look at either Sin Cities or look at Hard Boiled, the Frank Miller and Jeff Darrow piece that we'll have to look at someday. I'm kind of getting over my fear of YouTube getting mad at us. Also, if a future employer ever saw I looked at a book about, because Hard Boiled's got a lot of interesting stuff, mature wise. But hey, I feel like if I'm just talking about art, how can they get mad at me? If I talk about it under a professional lens like I am, I shouldn't be scrutinized. I'm getting on a rant. Never mind. But no, like I said, it is a very iconic look right here. So I wonder if that was a sketch he did. If this was supposed to be Nancy Callahan in one lifetime and that was Hardigan, it's just stuff like that I wonder. So it turns out this meek little 9 to 5er, he's just leaving. He left it. His wife's been insulting him all night. He finds this poor girl in the road, and well, she puts moves on him is pretty quick with a great panel. Great composition. He's in all darkness besides his glasses being white, and she's in all white besides her hair coming down, which is in dark. Just a fun panel, you know. Think out of the box with your panel works. What kind of compositions can you do? Also, this doing that's such a simplified figure, but it works so well. Like again, just play with your art. What works, what doesn't. If you're gonna do a page 10 different ways, because then you're really gonna figure out what works and what doesn't. Art's not easy. If my motto is if it takes 100 pages to get it right, well then it takes 100 pages to get it right. And yeah, so just get to that drawing table, kids. Another great card panel and just great talking heads. Um, what do I mean by talking heads? Keeping a conversation going very fluid. Don't use the same two perspectives for every panel. And he changes it. Also, he doesn't make it linger. You know, one per perspective, we're outside of the car driving. Then we're in it on his perspective, from the left side of his face looking over. And now we're almost at a right side of his face looking over. And it's just a great comic tool. Change your composition up so when people are talking. Don't do the same one every time because that's going to make your audience put the book down. They're not going to like it. They're going to get tired of it. So just think, what can I do to make this conversation interesting? What can I do to keep it flowing organically? Because at the end of the day, conversation has to flow organically, you know, storytelling wise. Let's see what I effing love. I'm trying to not cuss as much, for my mother-in-law's sake. Um, I love how Frank Miller draws dinosaurs so much. I want a Frank Miller dinosaur portfolio so bad, because he draws like 10, 15 different dinosaurs in this one shot, and it's incredible. There's also Dark Horse Presents with a colored dinosaur. It, I I love it. I wish he did like a Cadillacs and dinosaur story or something. I want to see more of his dinosaurs. It just looks so cool. They look so just cheesy B movie claymation dinosaurs, and I love that. The Bronchiosaurus having such a short neck and stubby body, the T Rex's head being so big with that giant eye, and his iconic like scale work. If you look at stuff like in Ronin with the mutants, that almost the same exact pattern he uses, and it's very cool. It's very amazing. Dinosaurs might be one of my favorite thing Frank. Or no, they are one of my favorite thing Frank Miller draws because they're just so wild. They're so different. Best dinosaur artist, Bassett with Tyrant. If you haven't read Tyrant yet, after this video, go read Tyrant. It's incredible. It's only 4 issues for now. Let's all get on Bassett's case to crowdfund that so we can get a whole, or at least a trade of it. But you heard it here first, folks. We're gonna pressure Bassett into making the next Tyrant issue or a trade of it. So go write your local congressman. This panel or page is awesome. I'm surprised this isn't the cover. You can't tell me this wasn't in talks about being the cover. It's so iconic or so just striking. The subtlety of the rain bouncing off both of them. His just, dull glare. He's just staring at her. She's using a little act of, subtle seduction. And yet, for right now, Frank's not over. I don't want to say he's not overtly sexualizing her because she is over. That's complicated, but yet he kind of holds back in this panel. He's not having the nipple show through, or he's not having a camel toe show through, which I feel like Miller changed that approach later on. But here, it's amazing artwork. I love it. This is my favorite page in the book. Like I said, I'm surprised this isn't the cover of the book or a cover. Maybe it's a cover of a trade of his one shots. I don't know. I think it'd work great as a cover of a trade. But what do I know? I just work here. But no, and just more subtle. Like this is why I really think that this is one of his sketchbook drawings. Is he, for a character I don't think is ever brought up again. She's so well done and just very iconic. So I think Frank either had this in his sketchbook a lot or just had this idea come to him as a shower thought and really ran with it. And hey, it turned out really good. It's a great caricature, like he's showing those anatomy skills right now. That hip kind of, or that might not be correct anatomy with the hip. I'll I won't get into some things, but but this like having those the butt muscles, in the back, like you can really tell he knows his anatomy. Probably bends it a while, but here I feel like that's a really solid anatomy panel. Here I do think that hip kind of bows out a little bit more than it naturally could, but this panel right there, and why I bring it up is that's a pose I could tell you we had to draw in figure drawing in college. Front, one her she's contrapposto. If you don't know what that is, it's when you're if you're standing upright, right, and you put one of your legs forward, you're displacing your weight. So your shoulders are going to be a little ajar. Contrapposto. It was a very very early on art movement from having just solid statues standing upright. You had Romans, you had Egyptians, just having people with a subtle movement. And the reason I bring it up is one of the first model references we use in figure drawing is a contrapposto, where they're just a subtle movement here, showing their hips a different way, showing their shoulders a different way, and that's what this page is right there. It's just that early on figure drawing model. Probably one of the first time you have a nude model in the shop. But next page, it's such a good dinosaur. Another T Rex, a Stegosaurus. It's just awesome with really subtle character drawings. It just works really well. I want to do more of that. I want to make more subtle characters instead of trying to put the Jeff Darrow level of detail into everything I can try. You know, that's a really good panel there too. He's so great at drawing women in his Sin City style. I don't know how he does his lips. When I try to draw lips like him, they look so horrible, but he does it so well. And she has so much detail compared to the 9 to 5er who, that might be the point. He has very little detail because he's bland, whereas this woman's full of life. She's a she's and as spoiler alert, she's like an assassin. So she's like a Black Widow, and I guess she kind of does look like the whoever played Black Widow in those Marvel movies. I'm horrible with names, um, but she does kind of have that look, and she is very much a seductress in this book, trying to lure men into her Black Widow pistol. But no, just a really good female that he's drawn. But no, another great dinosaur, metaphor. They're in the jaws. What's gonna happen, right? Something's gonna happen, and just they move. That's not how that arm works. That arm, I think, is completely wrong. I don't. I know. I feel like that perspective is totally wrong. You heard it here first, folks. We're calling out Frank Miller for that perspective. I don't. Something about that just don't look right. Huh. The rain's awesome though. I always love it when people just use white ink on a black page. That's one of my favorite things to see, and you get to see a lot of it with Frank Miller artwork, which is why I love Frank Miller artwork. Just look at that dinosaur. That needs to be a Dark Horse Presents, or not Dark Horse Direct print. I just bought the giant Hellboy screen print that I don't know when the hell that's coming out, but do a screen print this thing too. Make that happen, Dark Horse. Make that happen, Frank Miller. I want a 30 by 40 or piece of that, with some. It's just awesome. He's even got that Jurassic Park raptor claw. It just looks awesome. You know, and it's just knowing how to do black and whites, and that might sound super easy, but black and white art is hard as heck sometimes. You know, it's such an acquired skill because I feel like in our first art classes from elementary to high school, it's, oh, what kind of color are you going to use? Like, learn your colors. And it's like, I feel like you forget how striking a black and white piece can be, and it takes a little bit of a learning curve to learn it. I feel like I'm still trying to learn it, and maybe some people are different. Maybe it's the opposite. Some people are amazing at black and white, and some people suck at coloring. Who knows? Let me know in the comments if you're one way or the other. Your thoughts, whatever's. You know. But no, they're doing the deed, and well, it's an interesting way to frame it. There's no gutters. It's just a kind of a different perspectives here and there with some, striking artwork. Using that, line work on his jacket instead of making it a solid shape. It is very interesting. In this page especially with like no gutters. It's I guess there are gutters in a way, but not really in my opinion. And it's really interesting. I'm gonna try to use that in a book. I think it's super interesting. Um, it turns out that this is the wrong guy. She was supposed to kill someone else, and this turned out to be a poor schmuck who was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and just really cool artwork. But no, and then she just straight up kills him with a her high heel straight to the old brain. She just looks so striking. Like again, she had to be a Miller sketchbook. Maybe that's just what's his practice for a little bit, or someone he knew. I don't know. Is there a story behind this book? I don't know. If so, let me know in the comments. And more just great dinosaurs, some cool Spinosauruses. I wonder if what took them longer, all the people or studying the dinosaurs. I just want to see the original pencils for the dinosaurs. That's what I want to see. Um, I wonder if that's in the Art of Sin City. I doubt it so much. I doubt it, but that would be really cool, wouldn't it? I think it would be really cool, but I just work here. But no, she's walking back, and yeah, she totally missed her person she was supposed to kill. But it turns out he was not innocent. He killed his poor wife. So boom, sucks to suck. 9 to 5. You're just karma. And I love this character right here. His name is Gordo, and I want to know more about Gordo. Who is Gordo? Why does he look like a giant clown? Stuff like that. I'm like, I love Sin City. I want to know more about Sin City. Why is it the way it is? What is it? And it might be one of those things that I really don't want to see more of it, because the only way I want Sin City to be presented to me is if Frank Miller draws it. If he don't draw it, I don't want more Sin City. So, as Miller gets older, that doesn't mean I want someone to take the torch from him. I want him. And if he can't do it again, that's okay. I can live with you know, what Sin City we got? Hell, what is it? 6, 7 deluxe editions at this point. I have 2 of them. Whoop whoop. But no, I love that character. It's just a great character design. But again, think out of the box. What can you do to be really fun? And character designs can be part of it. More typography again, and just a great subway too, doing all those bricks that way. Such an ingenious. I remember reading this book for the first time and stopping on this page to really just look at the bricks. It's like, ooh, I have never seen someone try to do bricks like that before. That's huh. Darking out some while leaving some white. It's just different. And typography is interesting. I wonder if he lettered this book himself. We need to check at the end. But no, she finds her real target and just kills him, and that's the book. And just a great one shot with some great art. That if you want to learn how to do like a rail yard, look at this book for some examples. I feel like it's a good way to do it. And then the last piece of art or one of the last pieces, is a Bill Sienkiewicz Sin City piece. And it's so his art style, drawing Marv blowing some dude's head off. I didn't know this existed, but now I can't not see it. It's pretty cool. I can say add another Sienkiewicz piece to my collection. So very cool. I wonder if there's a colored version out there. I so doubt it, but I would love to see what his colored Sin City would look like. And then at the back is I assume that's Nancy Callahan, or maybe just another random sketch. But no, there is Sin City's one shot, Sex and Violence. Another really great Frank Miller one shot in the Sin City world. I think if you love Sin City, you gotta read it. It's a fun read. It's a quick read. If you just want a good, black and white book, read it. I think all of his Sin City stuff is solid for the most part. We'll get to some of my complaints. It's not even complaints. It's just changes in his art style when he goes more into the Bigfoot cartooning. But no, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you. It helps us out a lot. It keeps the algorithm pumping these books or these videos up to more and more people who like this style of content, who wants to see this style of content. Um, if you found something you liked, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up to date with the hottest up and coming Southern comic book channel on the globe. Um, so just keep up to date with us. We post Monday to Friday every week, every day, 10 a.m. Unless it's a holiday. Maybe I start that now. Um, you know, it's been real fun. Our summer's maybe halfway over at this point before I go back to college to finish up my last year. Wish me luck. So, but I have no intention of stopping this channel when we get to that point. We might do maybe 3 videos a week instead of 5, but I'm just ranting now. Next week's going to be a cool week. We are going to be starting back Manga Mondays again with Doro Hidoro number 2. I don't know what Frank Miller book we're going to look at next Friday. We're going to be looking at Madman again, looking at Kick-Ass number 2, and I think we might be even looking at a Richard Corbin book. But all that's liable to change. Again, thanks for everyone for watching. I guess I'll send you on some marching orders and I'm out of here. Make more art.